The idea that gay rights have become synonymous with civil rights has increasingly become a part of our cultural and political landscape. In 2008, the magazine of record for the LGBTQ movement featured the cover story, "Gay is the New Black," declaring the right for homosexuals to marry and in every other respect be treated like heterosexuals as being the last great struggle of the civil rights movement. 26 years before that, Dennis Altman, political science professor and the author of several books on the homosexual experience, and it's fair to point out, himself a gay man, observed that the greatest single victory of the gay movement over the past decade has been to shift the debate from behavior to identity, thus forcing opponents into a position where they can be seen attacking the civil rights of homosexual citizens rather than attacking specific behavior. There's no doubt that Altman, Bond, Reiner, the Obamas, and millions of others today are sincerely convinced that the acceptance, the normalization of homosexuality is fundamentally a civil rights issue, virtually identical to the struggle to secure equal rights for African Americans. And nowhere is this perceived inequality more fully realized than when it comes to the issue of gay marriage. Refusing to allow gay people to marry, the logic today goes, is virtually no different than the tragically bigoted miscegenation laws that forbade blacks from marrying whites, until the Supreme Court ruled those laws unconstitutional in 1967. We can all agree that bigotry and intolerance, properly defined as we looked at in Part 4, are wrong for anyone, but particularly for a Christian. But are miscegenation laws comparable to not allowing a same-sex couple to marry? And more importantly and broadly, is gay the new black?
You know, a significant clue that something is whack with this whole gay is the new black chorus can be seen by examining one of the foundational assertions of the homosexual rights movement. It's an analogy routinely being made by lawyers, activists, politicians, and rank-and-file supporters of gay marriage, that defining marriage as being between a man and a woman, and thereby not recognizing marriage between, say, two men, is virtually no different than the miscegenation laws that once banned the marriage and interbreeding of, for example, a white man and a black woman. There are any number of problems with this analogy. First, there's no theological or scientific support for in any way marginalizing, much less banning, interracial unions. Unlike homosexual couplings, mixed-race marriages still unite the two halves of humanity. They exhibit full emotional, spiritual, and sexual complementarity, as well as the reproductive potential necessary to keep the human race and society moving forward. And they also create the optimum environment for raising children. That is, a child being raised by his or her biological mom and dad. Relatedly, miscegenation is defined as the interbreeding between members of different races. Well, a homosexual couple cannot interbreed, a plain fact that shines a bright light on the logical flaw in the gay, straight, black, white argument. How can forbidding people who have the ability to interbreed be the same thing as acknowledging the fact that a homosexual couple categorically lack that ability? And finally, miscegenation laws have universally been rare and localized. In America's particular tragic case, the legacy of chattel slavery and our own form of apartheid. But throughout world history, the majority report has been a laissez-faire, live and let live attitude in regard to interracial marriage. We can find it in the Bible, for example. And it's estimated that during the height of the British Empire, as many as 1 in 3 Englishmen living in India married local, non-white women. But nothing even remotely comparable can be found in relation to same-sex marriage, where even the idea of it, much less the actual practice, rarely, if ever, occurred among civilized cultures throughout all of history.
I'm black, and I have a white wife. And we would be the first to condemn any form of prejudice or denial of equal rights based on race. But my primary reason for taking this position has nothing to do with self-interest or the color of my skin or the color of my wife's skin. Instead, it's based upon Bible teachings, what the Bible teaches. And then it's affirmed by the testimony of science. First, Scripture makes almost no mention of what we would today call race, noting instead things like language, nationality, tribes, or ethnicities. And even then, it's always in relation to the ultimate view of drawing the wonderful diversity of human culture into one cosmic family of the redeemed, as in the consummate verse found in the last book of the Bible. And they, the redeemed, sang a new song saying, "Worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals, for you were slain, and by your blood you ransomed people for God from every tribe and language and people and nation." It's Revelation 5:9. And this grand theme is first expressed in the first chapter of the first book of the Bible, as we're given an account of man's creation. And here the only distinction noted about our race, that is the human race, and note there's only one race, is focused entirely upon gender. And then wedged between the opening and close of human history, the book of Acts echoes the same chorus. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth. Now that's Acts 17:26. And science has only confirmed this. We now know that what people refer to as racial characteristics, like skin color, eye shape, hair texture, etc., account for a minuscule 12 thousandths of biological variation. Which means that I could be more genetically related to, say, this white cameraman than he is to the white guy hosting this video. You see, so race is really nothing more than a mirage, because you can't use it to determine whether or not someone could be married. I mean, that's just wrong. It's wrong biblically, and it's wrong scientifically.